Hey guys.
Hi.
Hi there. Hi. Wow, good to see you guys.
Morning, Mel.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, it's good afternoon here. Do you guys know what time it is here?
It's 3 p.m., right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to put this gallery view. Oh, I can see everybody. This is awesome. Well, I'm so happy to see all of you guys here in Thailand. Yeah. Wow. From all over the world, all different times. I've met most of you all different times in Phuket Cleanse history, and here we are today in a very unusual time, but in many ways a very special time for all of us. And I think all of us are going on a very special inner journey. And this is a great time to do some intention work and a great time to step into our power. And I look forward to getting to know each of you individually. It's kind of hard on a Zoom screen to talk to everybody individually, but I just want to start this off and say that my WhatsApp contact is in all the information, and I'm not busy these days because Phuket Cleanse is closed. So I have a lot of time to communicate with you. And I'm going to give you like little tasks to do, little bits of homework. And I'd love for you to WhatsApp me with your tasks, whether they're voice recordings or written recordings, and I'll coach you back by WhatsApp. So today, unfortunately, I wish you were all sitting with me in a room and I could touch and talk and we could all interact, but we can't. But I want to make a really close relationship on WhatsApp, and there'll be a lot going on over the next 8 weeks. So I want to start this off to review some of the content that we shared with you. I know that some people didn't have a chance to listen to the content or read the worksheets. If you had any problems with that, let us know. But everybody got some information. You got some videos from Bettino Massaro. And I'm sure that could have been daunting to some of you. He's quite a talker, and we sent some videos. And I'm going to review his content, the pieces that I think are important for the work that we're going to do. And we also gave you some worksheets to do. So I hope you had a chance to do that. And there's a strong connection between the materials that what Bettino was talking about and the worksheets that I asked you to do. So Bettino was talking about becoming that I am presence. And for some of you who haven't listened, you might be like, well, what are you talking about? So I think it's pretty easy to summarize that I am presence. So all of you right now, if I asked each one of you your names, you could tell me your name, you could tell me about you, you have an identity, you have a history, you have a story. But the I am presence that Bettino is talking about is that permanent you, your soul. Some might call it your soul. Some might call it your eternal soul that travels through time, that's always been here, that will always be here. It's simply observing through your identity and just experiencing your life. So it's hard. I'm sure most of you would agree. It's hard to step away from that identity and just become pure presence, just to step in and see the world through your soul. And that's all he was really talking about, is in the process that he's talking about with self-actualization, is what he calls it, is the path that so many Buddhists and so many religions teach, so many meditation teachers teach about becoming your soul. Maybe just a few seconds every hour, you can become your soul. It's a big challenge to step away from the identity and just be your soul. Could I ask you for just a moment to just close your eyes and just for a few moments see if you can not be your identity, not be your story, but be your eternal soul. So I think it's a good way to start this. If I could ask everybody for just 1 minute, can you close your eyes and step into that permanent identity? And you can open your eyes again, and I'm going to tell you another way. A lot of times you're almost looking for it. You're like, where is it? I feel myself being here, but where's my permanent identity? What's the personality of my permanent identity, my eternal soul? And sometimes I may suggest that you might find it in your heart. So maybe I'm going to ask you to close your eyes again and step into that soul, your eternal soul, and simply move into your heart space. And you all know what it is to do that. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and just be present completely and feel any emotions in your heart. And you can breathe into your heart. Now that place that of being in the heart, the reason I wanted to bring you there is it's the place that your soul speaks through you, through the heart. The heart feels excitement. The heart feels love. And if you want to really tap into your soul speaking through you and giving you guidance, as I would suggest that you do, to see what your real truth is to be able to move into that space in the heart. Now, we gave you the worksheets that allowed you to identify what is it that you really want? What does your soul really want to experience? Because if we're starting this intention games course, it'd be really nice to know our truth, what we really want. So maybe you can pull up your worksheet, your worksheet, this one right here, the visioning worksheet. And I hope you had a chance to answer some of these questions prior to the call. But what I really wanted you to do is to feel into that space of the heart. And I know it's not easy to stay there. I know maybe you can only stay there sometimes for a few seconds before a thought comes through. But you can always just observe the thought and move back to the heart. And then another crazy thought's going to come through, or a doubt or a fear or something to distract you, and you just move back into that heart. But whether you do this with closed eyes, I suggest closed eyes. Maybe look at what you've already written here and update it. Maybe you've already done this today, but if you could move deeper into that soul and take some deep breaths, and I believe we had shared the coherent breath for you. I feel that's a very, very good breath work to do, is the coherent breathing. So many of you practice that. And if you could just do that coherent breathing and going back into the heart, and just get a really good breathing pattern. And I would say it's like approximately an inhale of a 6 and an exhale of a 6, more or less. It could be 5, but it's that continuous coherent breathing. And sit in the heart and maybe look at one question at a time. And allow your soul to speak through you. Is this your answer? How can you update it? So as you see, the first question is, what gift is deep in me that would like to get out to the world? What a great question. Can you allow your soul to speak through you and tell you that? Or show you an image or a feeling or thought? And if you don't feel your soul speaking to you, you could think of something that you think that your soul is excited about, something you've been excited about, and run it through the heart and run it through that breath. And the way you know it's your truth is you feel this flutter of excitement in your heart. And that flutter of excitement, that's your soul speaking. The excitement in the heart is your truth, the voice of the soul. So take a moment and ask that question again. What gift is deep in me that would like to get out to the world? Like I say, if you don't feel the voice of your soul, just throw a few ideas out and see which idea your soul embraces. And you can feel that flutter of the heart. It just feels like the heart's growing a little bigger. It's that place in the chest where you feel love. And the next question is, what is trying to emerge from my life? What is seeking to emerge? And for some of you, it may not be like a big project. It may be something like compassion. Or it could be that big project, or it could be that trip. And what is a vision I hold dear? I think that's a good one. Like if you've had a vision lately, an idea lately, what one is just feels quite heartfelt to you? And as we all move into the heart, I'd like if you can imagine almost that we're all holding hands, because we can actually create a group resonance in the heart. If we visualize ourselves holding hands now, all in that heart space, it will amplify our work and our connection. Now, as you imagine us all holding hands, being in the heart, the next question is, what is the universe up to as my life? What idea is the universe trying to express with me, through me? What is the universe seeking to express through me? Being in the heart. And again, if nothing comes to you, run a few ideas through the heart and see which one makes your heart light up and grow. And I like this next question because it's almost an action step. It's a pre-action step. So now maybe that you found something you're excited about, you found how the universe is hoping to express itself through you. Then the next question is almost that first step of action. What must I become to manifest the vision that I'm beginning to see? That's a good one. That's that first upgrade or shape shifting you must do. What new aspect of you needs to come through? And you might get an adjective, or you might get a vision, or you might get nothing. And if you get nothing, maybe run a few ideas. Sometimes that's a challenging one, that question, because sometimes it inspires a little bit of fear or doubt. And if you feel that feeling of fear or doubt when you vision what you must become to allow the universe to express, because it's a bit of an upgrade, it's a bit of a stretch, naturally. That you just breathe through it deeper in the heart. You know, if you decide I must become compassion, or I must become this, or I must become that, and it feels like a little bit of a stretch, just simply breathe through it and become it. Like an actor. If we threw you on stage and said, we're paying you $1 million to act this thing out, do it, go. You would find a way to breathe in that characteristic and exhale it. That's really your first action step, that becoming, that little acting job. That might be a fun one to revisit later, is what must I become to manifest the vision that I'm beginning to? That's your acting job. You might have to come back to it and act through it, fake it till you make it a little bit. What is the next step I can take to download my vision or purpose? This is your next action step. So you just decided what you've got to become to manifest that vision. But then what is that next step? And again, become it. Like the method actor, just feel that next step. Act it out in your mind. Feel it in your heart. Bring forth the emotion. So often the first question, sometimes we might get words, we might know exactly something very tangible that we need to become or do, but sometimes we just know, I need to be more confident if I'm going to do this. I need a sense of knowingness. Or sometimes we think, oh, I need to become fit if I'm going to do this. So you might feel a number of things. Yes, and what thought patterns must I change? And that's a good one. What thought patterns must I change? I have a feeling I would hear a lot of the same thing here. It's about confidence, it's about knowingness, eliminating self-doubt, or stop beating up on myself. What actions must change? Yeah, this is a good one, you know. This is all about taking that next step. Take a moment, thinking about some actions this week. And let the heart assist you. Again, let the soul assist you and give you divine guidance, because the mind's just going to get in your way. Where must I grow? That's an interesting thing. That's a great opportunity for growth this week. And that's a good one. What must I become? And how could you reflect the cosmos in a way that has not quite happened before? That's a really exciting question. I think I'd like to end on this question right now. And this topic is, I love that question. That's a great question to ask one of your friends or loved ones this week. Hey, how could you reflect the cosmos in a way that has not just quite happened before? I think you really throw your friends off or your family members off if you ask that question. But it's a great question to ask them. That's a good one to run through your heart. Elaborate the last question. Somebody asked if I could elaborate on the last question. I think the last question was actually already asked in a previous one. It says, what is the universe seeking to express through me? And then this question is, how could you reflect the cosmos in a way that has not quite happened before? I think a lot of us have like people that we watch on YouTube that are doing something we want to do, or we have a friend who's got that job. I mean, often we get ideas of something we want to do by somebody else doing it. But we know that we would have our own style of doing it. Or maybe nobody's doing that crazy thing we want to do. And that's the point, that each one of us is such a unique expression. Just look at us on the screen. We look all so different. So maybe you want to be a cook. What unique way of cooking can you do that has never been done before? Maybe you want to be a painter. What unique way are you going to paint that's never been done before? I think that's such a great question. To do something in your own style that's never been done before, even if it's a slight tweak. That's a real exciting thing to think about. So the idea of this worksheet was, again, to begin to think, what is it we want to manifest? Where do we want to start? And that is just basically a little warm up to get your thought process going. And I'm sure that you will be updating things along the way. And I'd now like to go into a new worksheet. Rita's gonna put up another worksheet here. Yes. So one of the things that, this is also a worksheet that we gave you prior that I'd like to just review a little bit, is we're going to, in a little bit, talk about the steps of intention setting in a very particular way. But one of the steps in the intention setting process is to be very, very specific about what you want to intend, to write a very, very specific sentence. So I think this would be a good time for me to tell you that this work that I'm presenting to you in this course is based on the work of a book called The Field, and then another book called The Intention Experiment, and another book called The Power of Eight. And basically these were a series of books by an investigative journalist named Lynn McTaggart. And Lynn McTaggart studied physicists and scientists who were studying the science of intention. And they did all these things that scientists do. They did all these double-blind studies and repeated studies and repeated studies and repeated studies to determine what are the best ways to intend to get a very specific outcome. And there were multiple experiments done, and I do encourage you guys to consider reading that book, The Intention Experiment and Power of Eight. What was cool is that this book came out in the early 2000s, and it was just the launch. They had already been studying intention for a good long time, like 15, 20 years. But when the book came out in 2000, they launched the Intention Experiment website at the same time, so that every month they could do continuous intention experiments and continue to collect data on what really worked. What actions can we take to actually manifest something in our world that's scientifically proven as an excellent process to get the final result. So everything we do in this course is going to be based on that. And we're going to go through those steps. And in the next worksheet, we're going to go over those steps. It's like 7 steps that they have identified as the critical steps. And we're going to go over that. But one of them is about writing very, very, very specifically, in detail, in exhaustive detail, your intention. So we wrote here, write a general summary of an intention or desire you have. Now provide more detail. What is your intention? Be more explicit than in your general summary. Who is involved in your intention? Write about it this explicitly. Where? Describe the scene, situations, locations of where it will take place. How? How would you like to see it come about? Write an exciting pathway. Maybe you have a particular way you'd like to manifest your intention. If you had the intention of buying a yacht, for example, I'm just putting that out there. Well, how do you want to find the yacht or come up with the yacht? Maybe you don't have a path. You just want the yacht to come to you. But if you have a way, a journey to getting that yacht, what kind of journey would be exciting along the way? So you could write about the pathway unless the pathway or the journey is not important to you and you just want that final result. And why? What is your why? Why is this intention important to your universe? And when? When would you like this to occur? So this is one thing that the scientists found to be very, very, very important, that the more explicit you get, the more likely your intention will come about. You'll get the result. So I'll give you just a few moments here just to, one of the best ways also to do it is to do a speed round. If I say you got 30 seconds to write this, or you have 1 minute to write this, do it as fast as possible. The mind, the logical mind gets out of the way and that soul starts to pour through. So your soul hopefully will write the answer for you and not your mind, because your mind has limitations. It's going to use logic. I'd like your soul to write this. Yeah, one person asked if this could be a subconscious desire or a conscious desire. Well, it could be both. I think the soul will, I think it should be a union. And I believe that's the goal of this class, is that there's a union between your soul, your heart and your mind. And I believe the heart is your soul and the mind is your story, your history. It's your identity. It's your logic, but your soul is that timeless aspect of you. So if we could unite your heart and mind, that would be beautiful. And yes, you can certainly intend for a family member or a loved one. And we're going to really get into that a little bit later in the course. Today, I was focusing a little bit more on you, but the goal is that we start intending for each other and that we start intending for family members, because that's when it all gets really potent for everybody involved. Some say that if you're going to intend for a family member, you may want to go back to your little meditation and visualize that family member and ask them if it's okay. See if you get an answer. You may ask their permission, or you may ask them. That's a great question. Okay, well, I might be cutting you off a little bit early, but that's also the point, is we like to always set the timer for a little less time than you actually need, because it allows your mind to get out of the way. So move to the next worksheet. So back to, I had mentioned that the scientists have been studying intention for a very, very long time. And they basically summarize these 7 steps are the critical 7 steps that if you put in, these are this is the best summary and intention research. That first of all, space. If you can create a space in your home that you can revisit every time, and that's sort of your intention space, that scientists have found that a space gets kind of imbued with the energy of intention, that the space begins to take on a field of its own and a resonance of its own. So if you have a space, now for many of us, I met most of you guys at Phuket Cleanse, so I know you're travelers, and I meet so many people from Phuket Cleanse that travel. And I would suggest maybe you have a little like intention bag or an intention case. You can even bring it to work and just have a few things in there that you could set up your sacred space wherever you go. If you're in a hotel or you're in the office or you're hiding out in some park or something that you could set up. I mean, ideally a room is would be amazing, or a section of a room. That would be great. If all you have is a section of a room, that's really important. And you may want to even set your house up like this for other things. So if you're able to, if you have a place that you want to go and do really focused work, don't let anybody come and pollute that space, or just tell them, this is my focus area, or this is my focus room. So if you want to come over there and have a focused discussion or get something done, we'll go move over there together. But don't let people come and sit in there and eat or talk or do all kinds of other stuff or get distracted. That you can create a focus space in your house. You can create an intention space in your house. You can actually create a joyful, playful space in your house. That the scientists have found again and again that spaces take on a particular resonance, a particular field, a particular vibe. And that would be really, that's a really good suggestion I have for you to actually accomplish things, get things done, is know that you are populating the spaces around you with a certain energy. And that's why I believe, you know, so many, you meet so many of the new age type like myself that will be using sage to cleanse a space and do all kinds of things to cleanse a space. If we feel we've polluted it, we want to change the energy in that space. Yeah, so I'd love to see some of your intention spaces. Like I said, I really want to get to know you all by WhatsApp, or we have a Facebook group now, and see some of your intention spaces. So the next thing that the scientists found is that timing is really important. And when they talk about timing, they get really, really specific. First of all, the number one rule about timing is that you want to do it when you feel good. When you feel confident, when you feel you have a lot of energy, a lot of light, you're positive, that's a good time to do your intention. But the scientists get very specific. There are certain hours of the day, actually, that are really good for intending. I mean, I almost hate to open up this topic because we could go down a real rabbit hole here with timing. They have studied timing in such detail that it would blow your mind. If you go to the Intention Experiment website, they have a monthly intention where all the scientists and all the people that have read the book throughout the last 20 years and everybody involved in the Intention Experiment, they all have an intention of the month. And it could be healing somebody, it could be healing COVID. I don't know what their intention is this month. But when the scientists plot out the moment and time when everybody around the world will be intending, they check space weather. They check the weather and the sun. They check the space weather. They check something called sidereal time. I'm sure you don't even know what that is. First of all, they know that we intend better when the sun is quite active. So you can actually Google space weather and you can go to a website that says space weather, and you can actually see when the sun's active. And you can see like, sunstorms and sunspots and blah, blah, blah. That's a great day to intend, because when the sun's quite active, it gives us a lot of energy. But they also check, this is really unbelievable, they check the central sun. There's a sun in the middle of the galaxy or something like that, that they check, because there's another sun that's more important than our sun. And astronomers have a clock that's called a sidereal clock. So our clock is based on the sun, right? Our clock is based on the sun. But there's another sun that like sits in the center of this galaxy. I don't know where it is. And astronomers use that clock. And so they like to intend every day at 1 p.m. sidereal time, meaning 1 p.m. based on the clock of the sun in the center of the universe. Do you see why I said I didn't want to go down this rabbit hole? Because I don't even want you to think about it now. But I'm getting to a point that they've studied intention and timing with that much specificity. You know, they specificity. How do you say that word? They've studied it that carefully. And the idea is that when there's an international intention on the intention experiment website, say like healing COVID, they want to make sure everything's perfect. They want to make sure there's a lot of energy in this galaxy. They want to make sure that there's a lot of energy on the sun. They want to make sure all things are perfect. They want to make sure you have a lot of energy, and that's when we hit it. Now, I would say for you, you could just say, I'm going to intend when I feel I have a lot of energy. And that's what moves us to the next topic, where you see the third thing they said is so important is powering up. So if you've been at Phuket Cleanse recently in the last year and a half or so, you see that we do breath work all the time. We're really into breath work. And we're going to make breath work a big part of this course. But because it is hard to control the sun and the central sun and all these other things, but you can control your own personal energy. And so they have found that it's very important that people have a way that when they sit down in their intention space, that they can power up their energy using some breath work. And that it was one of the reasons that we showed you that coherent breathing. We shared that with you. That's a really good one to get you. It's just a very gentle, easy breath work that builds energy in your body. Now you could do a meditation. Some of you may feel so unbelievably energized after a workout or after being in the sun. But the idea is you want, as I wrote here, find a way to power up and charge your magic wand, which is you. You are the magic wand, but you should feel good, and you should feel like you have a good charge. You should feel like you have a lot of energy. And so that's why breathwork is going to be really important. And we're going to talk a lot more about that later, how we want to develop your breathwork skills so that you can charge up that magic wand, which is you, anytime. Now, the next thing is becoming a nowist. Move to peak focus by moving deep, deep, deep into the present. Saturate yourself with the present as you imbibe all the sights, smells, and sounds and sensations. So you could ideally, you would do some breath work, you do some meditation, you get really feeling good, and then you just get really into this now space. You just really get into the moment. You don't let the mind run. Just pay attention to the sounds and sights around you. You get really present. So the idea, they said, is when you're thinking about this and you're thinking about that and you're thinking about that, you're taking your energy and dispersing it all over the place. So you want to bring back all your personal power into the now. So you want to gather all those thought streams and bring it into the now, because you're losing power. It's like you have a leak. And as I mentioned, your personal power, your personal energy is important. So we can move to the next page. Okay. So as I wrote before, tell the universe exactly what you want. Make your intentions highly specific and directed. The more detailed, the better. So I have The Power of 8 is the book that came after the intention experiment, and it's about group intention. It's about, scientists found that 8 seemed to be a magic number. Scientists have tried to have intention groups of 100 or intention groups of 20 or intention groups of 12 or intention groups of 6. And after all these years, they decided that when a group of 8 people get together, they seem to have that perfect synchronicity, that synergy, that energy, that focus. And they find in the experiments that what they intend on tends to actualize. So there's Power of 8 groups all over the world. You can certainly join them. There's a Facebook page called Power of Eight, and there's people around the world looking for people to join their Power of Eight. For some reason, they try to be all on the same time zone. But anyway, this is from the book Power of Eight. And as I say here, it says, if you are trying to heal the fourth finger of your hand, specify that finger and, if possible, the problem. State your entire intention and include what it is you would like to change, to whom, when, and where. Use a reporter's checklist to ensure you have covered the very specific who, what, where, when, and why, and how. Draw a picture of it, or create a collage from photos or magazine pictures. I recommend Pinterest. If you can use Pinterest and make a Pinterest board, I think that's a great way to set up your intention. And place this somewhere that you can look at often, and don't be shy about announcing your intention to your group, and allow them to hold it for you while you hold intention for them. Make a vow out loud to your group. So you don't necessarily have to have a Power of Eight group. Like if you just have some friends and you have an intention, or you want to share it on our Facebook page, you want to share it with your family, you want to share it with me, if you can state it out loud, that's a good thing too, because again, you're bringing more energy to it. You're bringing more energy to it. As many, yeah, so that's really important. I'll let you read about it later, but I'd like to focus on this last paragraph here. It says, if you are trying to improve your career, don't just say something like, I want money to come to me effortlessly. That's far too general. If you need more people to sign up for a program of yours, specify how many. If something isn't working for you in your life, work out what is. The people, marketing of something, your role, tease out the issue and focus the intention for that to change. If you want a particular job, write a full detailed job description. If your income isn't steady, ask for a very specific job or situation that's likely to offer you offer a steady flow for you. If you want to meet a special someone, describe him or her in detail. Draw a mental and physical picture. So get really, really specific, and that's something that the scientists found was very important, is that specificity. I said it. I said it. Okay, so the next page. Yes. So yes. So today, so visualizing is something they found is very important. And today's the focus of today's lesson, I've gone over a lot of general things, but the rest of today's class is really going to be focusing on our visualization skills. So visualize in vivid detail, engaging all the senses and turning up the senses by amplifying the sensations as you imagine them. And I know that's easier for some people than others. And I noticed that as I've gotten older, my visualization skills are quite rusty. When I was younger, it seems like they were better, they were sharper. So it's important that we exercise that ability, our visualization ability, and that's what we're going to do today. And last of all is, once you've done your intention, you surrender and step aside. It is important that you surrender and allow the universe to bake up a magical experience far beyond your wildest imagination. So it's best you don't keep revisiting it all the time and fretting about it and worrying. Just let it go and know it's done. Know that you've created it, because if you've visualized it, you've built it, you've designed it, you've painted it, you've created it, it's out there, you just got to get to it. And that's when you follow your heart, so that you end up landing at the home of your visualization. So that last part is surrender and almost feel like it's in the past. Okay, so the next page. So as I mentioned, today's class, our skill that we're going to focus on is visualization, and we're going to talk about this technique called image streaming. So I searched long and hard for the best ways to refine people's visualization skills. And there was a book that was written called The Einstein Factor. It was written in the 70s, and it was about using this process of visualization called image streaming. And the idea was that visualization can help us with many fields. That Einstein and many geniuses, they would tend to, when they studied, they would visualize what they're reading and all senses. When they invented by using these very visual, this image streaming technique. And It can be used to improve your sports performance, your workouts, your confidence. You can use it for many subjects, but for today, we're going to use it for intention. So as I wrote here, image streaming is a technique to train oneself to visualize with fine detail. It's the art of creating a scene in your mind that is so potent, it feels real, and stimulates emotions and sensations on every level. The goal is to make it crisper, sharper, and even more emotional than a real memory. And you might say, well, how can I make it more emotional than a real memory? Well, the thing about a real memory is most of us, we're all scattered all the time, not really paying attention to what's going on now anyway. It's really not that hard to make it more vivid and emotional. When one can achieve this, one can leverage image streaming for multiple purposes: learning, memory, getting rid of habits, goal setting, improving performance, and of course, manifestation. So image streaming, all right? We'll go to the next page. Now, can you guys read this? I would like to be quiet for just a second and allow, this is a really weird example that they used in the book, the Einstein factor. I don't know why a guy was visualizing a cheetah, and I don't know why this is the best example they could come up with, but this was the example of a perfect image stream. So I'm just gonna take a break for 1 second, get a little bit of water and come back, and I'm gonna let you read this perfect ideal image stream. I think a guy was just imagining a cheetah. I'll let you read, I'll step away for 1 second. Now, I'm sure that most of you aren't going to imagine a cheetah, and I think it's an unusual visualization, but I believe that the author of the book just found that the way the guy just kept, the idea of image streaming is that you see something, but then you focus in and narrow in on things. So if you imagine yourself walking, I'd like you to imagine right now being in a place that you know really well. It could be your home, it could be your office, it could be your street. And that you're walking through it or moving through it, someplace that you really know. And I want you to just start moving through it. And naturally, as you're moving through it, your eyes are going to focus on something. You're going to see something that captures your attention first. And the idea is to move in and examine it in more detail and to notice things about it, feel the texture, feel its history. Notice something odd about it. Notice something maybe you wish would be different about it. And then you can keep moving into the next space. And then you can do the same thing, thoroughly examine that space. Now, I think what I'd like to show you is how much you actually really do remember from your past. So I was really surprised, and I was surprised when I've done this with other people. I'm surprised when I did it with myself. But can you find a place that you visited when you were a child? It could have been your house. It could have been your best friend's house. It could have been your bedroom. But some place that you were at often. It could be a grandparent's house. It could be the street. It could be the school. Some place you visited again and again and again and again and again and again and again when you were a child. Because I want to show you what still is in your memory. So maybe if you can enter that space now and look to the right and see what you see and narrow in on it. And maybe focus, often we'll notice the flaws. Like if you look at old places where you grew up, you can see there were certain things that were around you had flaws, like they weren't painted or they were dirty or they smelled. Touch it. Narrow in more. Do you see other things that might be right there? What emotions come up when you, and usually when you look at something, you think about it. Like, oh, I wish they would have done this, or I wish this could be moved, or I wish so-and-so would have moved this, or oh, why does nobody ever clean this? All that kind of stuff comes up when you're looking at something. And now continue to move into the room or wherever you are and look at the next object and really examine it. Notice more. See if you can move into it more deeply, bringing yourself there. And now I want you to go find something in this space that when you move into that, there's a lot of area for you to explore, because I want to see if you can move more deeply into this experience, making it richer by touching, feeling, smelling, and feeling emotions. Maybe you can even move something the way it should have been moved. Clean it off. Just go ahead and paint it. And what do you smell? Like, engage the senses. What do you smell? How's the air on your skin, the temperature? And can you go find something else in that space and say, can I go deeper into this? Can I become more of this? Can I time travel fully into this moment? Can I have more memories or feel more emotions about this? Can I smell it, touch it, feel it, sense it, even greater? Can I turn up the lights, the visuals, the colors? Can I turn it all up? All right, very good. So you can come back now, and you might have surprised yourself how much you actually remember about that old space, even if you were very young, how that space is there, and you can almost smell it, feel it, touch it, taste it. I'm sure you had a lot of judgments about it too, like, why didn't anybody ever paint that? Why did they just neglect that? Yeah. So, yeah, that is, I think you kind of have a sense of what image streaming is. So I would like us to um, go for and doing a little bit of intention setting now. But I'd like you to just maybe take just a few minute break, like maybe about 4 minutes. If you could stand up, if you need a drink of water, go to the bathroom, because I want to get you really relaxed for this next part of the process. And yeah, just take a few minutes and we'll come back, maybe stretch, because we want to manifest your wildest dreams in a little bit. So maybe take a moment. Yeah.
My first day.
Okay, so welcome back. And I'm going to, I actually taught a few people the other day this image streaming. And I had asked a guy, I'd asked everybody in the room, I said, imagine we were just 22 and we're just out of college or university now, we just graduated, and we're all going to visualize getting our first job. And we're going to envision that perfect job. And one of the guys in the room, he didn't understand. I was saying, imagine we're 21 again. I mean, imagine that we are 21 and we're about to get the job. But he misunderstood. And he thought I said, remember being 21 and remember going to the first day of your first job. So he got it all wrong. But his image stream that he spoke out loud was so good that I thought I would use it as a model image stream. He actually worked for The Sun. So I guess if you're from the UK, you know that paper. I don't really know that paper, but I've heard most people from the UK know The Sun. I guess it's a kind of, I don't know if it's a famous or infamous tabloid, but I always hear people laugh about it. So I don't know what that means. But anyway, he got a great job. He got a job as a writer for The Sun, and he was 21 and he image streamed his first day going into The Sun the moment he walked into the door for his first job at 21. So we're gonna play that so you can hear his image stream, and we can even critique it a little bit and see where he could have been more vivid. So Rita's about to play it.
My first day at work, age 21. The first noticeable sensation is the tight clip-clopping of the 1970s loafers. Too tight, particularly around the right foot, half a size bigger than the left. They were simply too stylish not to snap up for £10 from a retro store in Camden Market the week previous. I shall dazzle my co-workers, or so I thought. Mindful of the clip-clopping sound as I entered the large glass-walled foyer, my stride lengthened in a bid to impress the onlooking reception staff. At this stage, largely empty foyer, adorned with foliage of many kinds. The faint scent in the air was of a lily pad imbued mist rising from the fountain to the right and the left of the escalator. It was a grey sky day, however very bright, the brightness somehow amplified by the immense glass structure as I entered the newspaper building. Cautiously aware of people's opinion of my sartorial exhibition that day, I had on mildly flared grey trousers, large collar lemon yellow shirt, and sky blue jacket with many buttons. As I look up, down the wide barrel of a corridor towards the lifts, or indeed elevators, I caught the eye of Tanya, the receptionist. I speculate she was Greek or Turkish in origin due to dark brown hair, wide, round brown eyes, and eyelashes that reached out from her eyelid as though to greet me by the hand. Her look suggested a desire for more from life than to be constrained behind a desk day in, day out. She nodded hello as I nodded back, smiling, a grin that masked a deep insecurity at what people would think of me on that day, my first day in the office.
Anyway, I thought he did a really good job. Now, the idea is if you're manifesting something, to be able to manifest with that level of detail and emotion, even if you haven't seen it. And that is the challenge. Now, not that you're going to manifest exactly what you see. You're just actually trying to create an energy. You're trying to create a concept in the ethers. What you actually manifest will be more glorious and more right for you, more appropriate. One of the things that I had criticized him about when he actually originally did it, he recorded this for me after he did it one time. I criticized him because he said she had her eyelashes flickered. What is the blink? What is that? Fluttered or something. She said when she looked at him, her eyelashes fluttered, blinked. What's the word when you're flirting and you just, you bat your eyelashes. That's it. Yeah, she was batting her eyelashes. And I was like, oh, she bat her eyelashes. Well, the key with image streaming is you move in. So if she batted her eyelashes, I said, well, what do they look like? Go in deeper, deeper. And he, of course, said her long eyelashes, and they reached out to greet him. So that's the idea with image streaming, potent visualization. Again, whether you're using it to improve your physical performance. And when I say that, like if you're in a sport or if you're working out, you want to use these techniques to improve your performance. If you're memorizing any information, you're going to use it to improve your memory. But if you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into the image stream and amplify some of these things you can see, that's the real trick to potent manifestation. So that was Tommy. And now we're going to be doing a future manifestation. And I thought, though, we would need to go back. We kind of got the image streaming idea, and I'll go over that just a little bit before we do it. But what I want to put some focus on is the power up. So I have mentioned that we want to teach you a lot of different breathwork techniques so that you can power up instantly and get really focused. And so Rita, our breathwork teacher at Phuket Cleanse, is going to talk about that coherent breathing method that we sent to you in your pre-work. We sent you some coherent breathing information, but I'm going to ask Rita to review the coherent breath with us because that will be the breath that we practice today in today's manifestation work.
Thanks so much, Mel. Hi, everybody. I'm just wondering how many of you were able to get into, especially that website that kind of took you step by step through how to do the coherent breath, or maybe the Spotify. Did a lot of you go ahead and do that? I'll just briefly explain that one website that we shared is very interesting because he gave a big introduction of what the breath is. And then he also gave certain information of how to do it. And the more that you do it, the more advanced method that you can do. But as beginners, we'll just start with kind of simple. So the coherent breathing is a form of breathing that involves long, deep breaths. And what it does, the benefits that it does is it balances our nervous system. So we have the sympathetic or the parasympathetic. Let's start with that, parasympathetic. You can remember that P, para, peace, that rest and digest. And then we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is, you can remember that S for stress, right? It's the fight, flight, freeze. It's not bad. We need it in order to do and go and things like that. But most of the time we're living with the sympathetic nervous system out of balance. So this coherent breath is a balancing. It brings our nervous system together so you can self-regulate. And how to do this is bringing the inhale and the exhale with the same amount of time. There is this sweet spot, the 5 breaths per minute or 6 breaths per minute. And you can look into this. There's books written about it. There's a Heart Math Institute that studies this breath of what it does, but it's really a magical breath. And so those chimes that we gave you are a 5 breath per minute. What we usually do, and I want you all to just put one hand on your belly region, because you also need to remember that as we breathe, we need to have a lower body breath. So don't have this upper body breath that will get you into fight, flight, or freeze, but a lower body breath. And just go ahead and have one hand on your lower belly and one hand maybe on your upper chest, and take just regular breaths, how you regularly would breathe. And hopefully you'll feel that lower, the belly come out. Don't push it out, it just comes out because the diaphragm is going down. And just take a couple of breaths in and out through your nose. Just unconscious, just the way that you regularly breathe. And how we regularly breathe is about every our inhale is about 2 or 3 seconds long, and our exhale is about 2 or 3 seconds long. And this breath is going to be about twice that, because it'll be about 5 or 6 breaths per minute. Now, how you can do this, we're going to start out simply. Breathe through your nose, in through the nose and out through the nose. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. And you notice that I put that little pause there, right? This is not a connected breath. It's just a regular breath that we're elongating. And what you may find is that this is going to be a little difficult for you because we're stretching our breath. Our regular breath is about 2 or 3 seconds on the inhale, 2 or 3 seconds on the exhale, and we're doubling that. But don't worry about that. You will regulate yourself, and usually it takes about 3 to 5 minutes, and there'll be absolutely no problem to inhale all the way up for that 5 seconds and exhale all the way down for that 5 seconds. So inhale and exhale through the nose, or the second choice is you can inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, but with pursed lips. It's called resistant breathing, and it kind of elongates that exhale a little more. So inhale and exhale. And don't worry about these chimes. Again, this is twice as long as our normal breath, so you might have a little problem getting all the way up to that chime on the both chimes. If you inhale and you're kind of losing, you think that you have all the inhale that you can, hold your breath until the next chime and then exhale. And don't worry, this is just a practice that you can do, but the benefits are amazing, absolutely amazing. Again, institutes study this breath, and books are written about this breath, putting us into a balance so we're not stressed out. All those health issues come when we're having the stress out mode more than the rest and recovery mode. So are we all ready? Mel, do you want to
Yes.
have the chime on and their music?
Well, I have a question I suddenly thought about. So I wanted you guys to pull up something called binaural beats. And binaural, I'll spell it here. Oh, let's see. So it's called binaural beats. So binaural beats, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they are designed to get your brain in a particular, very restful, focused state. But there's many kinds of binaural beats. There's binaural beats that are called beta to get you in a very active state. Maybe when you're working out, you listen to binaural beats beta. If you're just kind of painting, you don't want to get too relaxed, or you're cooking or you're gardening, you type in binaural beats alpha. So it's just sort of relaxing, but not too relaxed. Binaural beats theta is the kind of binaural beats you would play if you want to go into a deep, deep, deep meditation. It's that almost asleepness, you know, when you're like falling off at night asleep and all of a sudden you jump, you're kind of awake, you're kind of asleep. That's theta. But then if you ever need to play binaural beats to help you sleep, you'll type in binaural beats delta. Now you can go onto YouTube, you can go on to absolutely any place that you search music and you can type in binaural beats. Again, betas for high activity, alphas for some gentle relaxation, thetas for deep meditation or intention work, and deltas for sleep. So today I would love if you use some theta music. It would also help if we're all in theta. So that's the music that we're going to use for intention. But I suddenly thought of this. Is it possible to listen to me and like streaming something? Maybe you could use your phone. Streaming something from your phone or streaming something from your computer. Can you listen to two platforms? Okay, great. So yeah, so if you could go ahead and do that search now and type in binaural beats theta, because I'd like you all to get into that theta state. Now, when you're not with me online on Zoom, binaural beats you usually get better results if you use earbuds, because they actually play a different sound in each ear. That different sound they play in each ear further kind of knocks you out and takes you into that deep, deep relaxed state. But you can use it on a speaker, but they're more effective if you do use earbuds or a headset or something like that. And what we can do is you put on your own music, and I'm going to guide you through an image stream to work on your first intention. Now, I'd love for you to be doing that coherent breath. Rita, there's no way for us to play the chime from this end as I talk that they could hear the chime, or would that be too much? Or should they just count?
What I'll do is I'll go ahead and just play a few seconds of that chime so you can kind of get into how long that is. So let me go ahead and do that. Let's see if I can put up my Spotify and I can just show the timing of that.
Okay. So with each sound, you either taking an inhale or you're doing the exhale. The sound is cueing you to do the next inhale, the next exhale. So if I was to count, Rita, would it be something like in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is that the general count?
That is, but it may be just everyone is at different points. Oh,
Yes.
Am I muted? No.
No, we can hear you.
Everyone is at different points. So I think if you all just make sure that you start where you are, so you're not completely holding your breath as you're trying to listen to Melanie, but understanding that as you move on in this practice, your inhales will become fuller and fuller and slower, and your exhales, just making sure that your inhale and your exhale are the same count. So inhale for 3, exhale for 3, or inhale for 4, exhale for 4, however you want to do that. But I think kind of start where you are right now, but try to make it as long and as slow as you can. And that chime thing is your goal. That is the length of the inhale and exhale.
Okay, so one of the things now is, I hope at this point, maybe you have some intention that's written, maybe you wrote something today specific, or maybe you wrote it prior to the call. Or perhaps you want to focus on a more minor intention, you know, something like a simple habit you want to get into. You know, there were just some questions that came up today, like, what do I have to become to manifest this goal? Or what do I have to change to manifest this goal? Some of those new action steps, you could visualize something like that. Or you could visualize your practice for the week. Maybe you visualize creating your intention space and your intention work. Or you could visualize the wildest, biggest dream ever, but you don't have to pick the biggest thing. It could be small and simple, just a habit or something you'd like to get done or accomplish, or it can be big. But something that hopefully came from your soul, something that was birthed from your soul from this work. And the idea is that hopefully you have it written down with some specificity. And we went over that. And we'll do some powering up to raise our energy through the coherent breath work. And I'm going to guide you through this future image stream, some guidance. And my goal is to drive you deeper and deeper into the image stream, that you do more focusing and you activate more emotions and you feel yourself really doing this thing and you're smelling it, tasting it, and becoming that actor in your mind's eye. So hopefully everybody's music's going. I know one person wrote and said she doesn't have music. I'm afraid if I broadcast music from here, it will interfere with everybody's music, but you don't have to have music for this. You can do it without music, it'll still work. And so if you can just get comfortable and close your eyes, have that specific intention that you've written in your mind, and begin to do that coherent breath. And you're either going to inhale for 5 or 6 and exhale then for 5 or 6 as you're listening to your music. And as you're doing that, imagine that you're garnering and pulling energy in to your biofield. Imagine your biofield is like an egg of energy around you. It's like egg shaped. It's not just your body, but imagine a big bubble around your body. And with every inhale, you're pulling energy into your field to power you up. Keep going with that coherent breath work. And to amplify our energy, imagine we're all holding hands in some way, that we're all connected. We're all listening to the same theta frequency. Imagine us all holding hands, working together to amplify this energy, to amplify our potency. Imagine you can almost feel that field, all of us holding energy together. As if we're creating a thick field of energy, and maybe you even feel some tingling on your hands or body. Maybe that energy is becoming more tangible to you. Keep with that breath, very important. Keep with that breath. And move into that soul space. Let the thoughts go and become your soul. Allow your soul to pour through and help you, as this is your soul's intention. And let your soul just sit in your heart. Giving it some intention with every inhale. letting go of distractions with the exhale. And now you can start your image stream of that intention you're manifesting today. And start by stating in your head the statement that you wrote about it with that specificity, that detail. Announce that statement to the best of your memory. And then begin to move into the image stream. Start to walk into the visual. Noticing your posture. Remembering that question from earlier when we said, who do you have to become for this dream to happen? So maybe feeling if it's more confident or knowing, focused, whatever, wise, whatever that characteristic is, become the method actor and adjust your posture. Maybe even change up your clothes. And become, again, like the method actor, becoming, maybe touching the fabric that you're wearing. And if you're feeling something like some new confidence or a sense of knowing or some wisdom or fearlessness or courage or whatever you're feeling, in your mind's eye, imagine touching where you're feeling it. Are you feeling it in your gut? Are you feeling it in your stomach? Are you feeling it in your heart space? Imagine in your image where you're feeling it and touch that. And to begin to move further into the image and move further into it, whether you're walking or driving or riding a bike. And focus in on something. Focus in on something and explore its detail, its texture, its touch, smell. The emotions it evokes in you. And the visuals, turn up the color. The sound. And the positive emotion associated with it. That's what you're really doing this for. You're doing it to experience some emotion. Turn that up. Feel it bright and big in the heart, like you're turning it up. Now I'd like you to move on, moving deeper into this experience and maybe repeating in your mind that initial statement, that initial written statement you made, maybe repeating it again and beginning to move further into the experience, stating that statement again. Moving into the next level of the experience, the next part of it. And as you're moving into that next level of experience, I'd like you to imagine an obstacle that might come up. and how, like the magician, you will move through it. This is your movie. Every movie's hero or heroine moves through those obstacles, triumphs those obstacles. Imagine moving through that obstacle and garnering those emotions and feelings you need in your heart to power you through. And as you're in this moment of triumph, I'd like you to focus in on the scene. What can you touch? Can you feel its texture? What do you feel on your skin? What emotion are you feeling? What sounds are you feeling as you triumph over the obstacle? How are you quieting and relaxing the mind as you triumph? How are you breathing? Feel into your breath. Are you using this coherent breath as you triumph over the obstacle? How are you moving your body to triumph over the obstacle? And move through it. Almost becoming denser and 3D as you now move to the other side of that obstacle, and you're on the other side of the obstacle, moving deeper into the scene, feeling the tangibility of it, almost touch. I want you to almost touch something in the scene where you can actually feel the heaviness of what you're touching on your hand. Feeling something that's not there in your hands. Smelling something in the space, in the room, that's not there. Deeply, as if it's there. Feel it and smell it as if it's there now. I know you can. I know you've imagined certain foods and been able to smell them in the mind's eye. Hearing something. Seeing the colors. Becoming the colors, like merging into the scene more. And I'd like you to make that statement one more time to yourself before we close. That statement, the original statement that you created, with all its specificity and layers and details. And now surrender, knowing that this is now a memory. It exists. The work is done. Know that it's out there for you. And simply surrender it, knowing that today or over the coming days, you will take that next step. That step that would be required to be a stepping stone into the experience you created. Visualize that next step or two you will take today or tomorrow. And when you leave this, you will have to plan for it as you've created it, so it's coming. And when you're ready, you can come back to this space. Wow. That was good work. We covered a lot today. And I hope that you keep practicing the coherent breathing. Create your intention space. One of the things I want to mention is because we know the powering up, the breathing, the being able to pull in energy and relaxing is so important that Rita is going to be doing some extra breathwork sessions that you can either attend live or that you can watch the playback for. So Rita, can you talk about the breathwork sessions that she will be doing?
Yes, have any of you done rebirthing or soma breath work at Phuket Cleanse? Any of that conscious connected breathing? So Mel and I are discussing about having a special breath work group just for this group. And each breath work will be building on the material that Mel has presented that week. And so I'll be sending out a survey to you if you're interested in participating in this. It'll be about an hour or 90 minutes doing a conscious connected breath or soma breath or some sort of meditative breath in order to do that power up. And I tell you, I have nothing in my life has changed me more than breath work. And I really hope that if you've not done it before, that you're willing to try this. And if you have done it, please join me. But I'll send out what day and what time would be best for all of you. I think that we have the whole from the UK, actually from Panama all the way to Australia in our course. So I'll be happy to work around your schedule with that. Mel, can I please ask you one thing that we talked about yesterday having to do with this work? I was just listening to a podcast, the Dave Asprey podcast, and he was interviewing this guy who was doing neuroscience, like Dharma and neuroscience, because that's what Mel is, right? She's half witchy and half scientist. And so she's backing up all of these things with science and what neuroscience is saying. And he had a really great quote where he said, in the beginning, there was nothing. In the middle, I wrote it down. In the beginning, there is nothing. In the middle, nothing stayed. And in the end, nothing left. And that had to do with, as we're all beginners in this type of work, sometimes it's hard to bring that in. In the beginning, nothing maybe will come to you, but keep sticking with it. In the middle, it might come to you, but it might leave. And then in the end, it's turned from state to trait, right? This is becoming a trait. But we were talking yesterday, Mel, about what happens when you're all pumped up and then it falls away. I think.
Yes.
Shadow.
Yes.
Manifestation.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you asked me about that.
I think everybody needs to prepare themselves for ups and downs in this type of work.
So there's something in the whole manifestation work that's called the 3-day process. And the first part of the process is what we've done today. We've launched the intention. And the second day is where, and it doesn't mean it's going to happen in 3 days. It could happen in 3 weeks. It could happen in 3 hours, or it could happen in 3 months. But the idea, there's a 3-part process. So the first part, you're all pumped up. You're excited. Like, I can manifest the thing. I can do it. I can feel it. I know I can do it. I feel good. And along the way, over the coming days, your subconscious will create some shadow. There'll be some story that comes into your life, some people, somebody, something that will create that shadow of doubt. Something you're like, I knew I couldn't do it. Yeah, gosh, just when I was getting excited. Yeah, I should have known. And most people stop there. That's where most people get stuck. They believe in the shadow of doubt. But the shadow of doubt is just a shadow, and you can ignore it. A shadow is nothing. It seems real. There's all going to be a cast of characters and situations and all kinds of things. And you simply just walk through the shadow of doubt and not get attached to it, not get stuck. It will seem as real as anything you've ever seen. And it will be. There'll be a cast of characters. I'm sure your shadow of doubt will manifest. But don't do like most people do and see the shadow, walk away, and forget about it. look at the shadow of doubt, this situation that's going to come up, as a sign that you're on the right path. Because just on the other side of it, if you can ignore the story, the situation, not get attached, just walk through it. On the other side will be celebration. On the other side, you will start to see hope. Maybe not right away, because that shadow of doubt might chase you for a day or so. It'll seem so real for a day or so, but then there'll be something and you'll start to feel hope. And just on the other side of hope is more hope. And just on the other side of more hope is faith. And once you're in that faith, like you can almost feel it. You start to feel like, I can feel it. I can feel it happening. I feel it. I feel it. You're almost there. It's almost tangible. So if you could just walk through the shadow of doubt and get to hope, get to faith, the celebration's on the other side. And this is called a 3-day process. So, and then celebrate as it starts to come in. So that's one thing. And just keep your frequency high, meaning that you went into a space and you got really, really high. That means you've created something that's right here. Things will come up and you might get attached to them. Some bad news on TV, and that's down here. Well, if your manifestation's up here and you're down here, you're not going to find it. So whatever you can do, you need to walk through all those shadows of doubt, all that crap that's going to come your way. Maybe stay away from a lot of the news or social media and keep getting yourself back up here, because this is where your manifestation lives. You're not going to find it down here. So you're just going to have to do everything you can. Now, sometimes you're going to get down, but don't get too attached to the realness of what's happening, to the stuff that's making you down. Know that you will move through it. Do something like power up, do some coherent breathing, distract yourself, but don't give a lot of energy to the crap that comes up, because turn on the TV, I guarantee you're gonna be right down. Guarantee if you turn on the news right now, you'll be here and then you're gonna be here. So I would avoid the news, but if for some reason you have to watch the news because everybody's talking, everybody in the house has the news on, then just don't attach it. Don't attach it. Just go back to that coherent breath and become the observer. Become the soul, just observing, but not attaching. Just the soul observing and not attaching. Just the soul observing and not attaching. And then you will gradually move up. That coherent breath will power you all the way back up here. So that's my suggestion. And you have my WhatsApp, I hope. It's on all the materials. I can put it again here. It's my WhatsApp, 727-219-823. And feel free to ask me questions, share things. If you want to share your vision stream, your image stream, you're like, I don't know if I did it right. Send it to me. I'll critique it if you want. And I will have some other things that will be coming to you over the course of the week. We have a Facebook page now. We have a WhatsApp group now. So we have a lot there, and I'll be sending you new exercises and materials. So I just want you, I just want you to stay high and coherently breathe through the 3-day process so that you can stay here and follow your heart. Your heart will take you right to where you want to go. So thank you. You'll be getting more homework soon. Thank you, everybody. This is a dream come true.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you. And please feel free to post on the Facebook page so we can all get to know each other.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll send out that Facebook link to everybody on WhatsApp and email. I'm sorry for interrupting whoever I interrupted.
No, that was just me, Alicia.
Okay.
Hi, Alicia.
Thank you.
Hi, Yvonne.
Hi. Bye.
Thanks, Mel. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Emma. I think that was Emma that said nice to see you.
Hi. Hi, Tamara.
And there's Mary. I saw Mary. And I see Kim. Kim was one of our first customers. Kim Holland wins the prize as the one who came here the longest time ago.
How long ago was that?
I know. I think it was like 8-9 years ago. You were one of our first customers. You and your cousin, of course.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah,
Tamara.
nice to see you. Tamara. And of course, I know your daughter. Does your daughter still play tennis?
No, she doesn't. That's a long story.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you very
All right,
much.
tell Tamara I said hi.
I will do that. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Rita.
Bye.
Bye.
Good to see Mary. Good to see Tanya, Jober. Bye.
I miss Phuket.
Ah, yeah. It's
Stu-
still here waiting for you.
Stu says hi, Mel.
Who is it? Stu. Oh,
Stu says hi.
yeah. We all say hi to Stu.
All right, see you next time.
Bye,
Bye.
Emma. Good to see you. Hi. Hi. Hi, Susanna. Susanna was one of the first customers too. Okay, we did it.